Derek, I got a question for you. I saw all those beautiful shelf corps. Now, when you want to activate them to use them for funding, do you do foreign qualifications with those? If you're in California, do you stick with in California for funding for those shelf corps, or do you try to go to other states?
That's a very good question, Luke. First of all, whenever you're doing funding, you never want to go to states that everybody go to. Arizona. Everybody goes to Arizona. Well, because it's cheap, taxes. But banks look deeper into your corporation because you can have more fraud. The more people in a state, the more fraud, potential fraud. So they're taught to look deeper into that court. So now you got to answer more questions. So go to the redneck states, Georgia, New Mexico. That's first thing I want you to know. Second thing, answer your question is, once you get some money in your state where the corp lives, stay out of Nevada, New Mexico, and Delaware. New Mexico is okay, but stay out of Delaware and stay out of Nevada. A lot of mafias in Nevada. How many shelf corps do you have personally that you use to get funding for yourself and keep the money sink running? That's a great question, Luke. Luke is from the Show Me State. Luke is from the Show Me State. Luke is from the Show Me State. Let's start by doing this. If you always have a shelf corp, you can always have money. So if you can get 200,000 to 300,000, let's just say, per corp, that means you can always pull a corp off the shelf and go get some money. So I've only begun to teach you the first part, but you're not at the level yet to get to the second tranche where you can remove yourself from the corp earlier and always continue getting money to do things with, okay? Never get a corporation over 7 years and never get a corporation under 2.5 years, tax years, because banks don't deal with rookies. The sweet spot is 4 to 5 years old. The best corp that banks like is a C Corp. That's the same thing as the United States of America. It's a C Corp. The United States of America is only Washington, D.C. The Mama Corporation. That's why you can't vote there if you live there, because it's the Mama Corp, the District of Columbia. So it's a corporation that was formed in Delaware. Look it up. So they love the C Corp. United States of America is C Corp. The states are corporations underneath it, independent. The cities are corps, unless they're very rural. The people are corporations. Underneath that, if you don't believe me, turn over your social, look at your corporate number on the back. So since they own you as a corporation, as a citizen, you need to have your own corp that you can borrow money off of, because they're borrowing money off of you. So you need a corp to borrow money from the Federal Reserve Bank so that you can run your own corp. If your corp failed, but you PG the business debt, you would first have to do credit repair on your personal profile, then go back with your other corp for funding, correct? That would be correct if you did the stuff that they taught you to do on the internet, but we're not here to teach you that stuff. Businesses should not fail. They only take collateral. If they do fail, you're not the person that's going to be responsible for everything. So what we do is we go in, PG the corporation. For those that don't understand what a PG is, that's a personal guarantor. The first thing we're going to do is have our credit together. We go in, we can do an audit and make sure that you understand what the FICO is supposed to be. Remember, it's not just going to be a score. It's going to be your FICO. To be a good PG, you need a good FICO. Next thing is build your corporation the proper way. Have all little bells and whistles in it that it needs. You'd be surprised at little things that they look at. Like, for instance, how many hits has been on your website? If you don't have 40 hits on your website, they're going to say you're not getting into business. Go into your website and hit it 40 times. What we're doing is we're PG in the corporation. That means that they say, who's going to pay us back? You say the corporation's going to pay you back. They say, okay, then who's going to guarantee the corporation pays us back? I am, because I have good credit. So now you borrow $200,000. You don't borrow it. Willie ABC Inc. borrowed it. Now you PG'd it. But what happens is you make sure a year's worth of capital to service the loan. Take a year and put that aside after you're paying the bill on time. Now remember, banks give you money based on how well you pay your bills. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 1 year and put it aside, because if you don't, then you lose and your corporation fails. Now you got bad credit. So to prevent that, to pay your bills on time, you got a year's away put aside. You take every month, you're paying that bill. So after 6 months, you got better credit, great credit. So now you go in and ask the bank, you say, hey, I'd like an increase in credit. Now you have more money because you paid the bill on time. Then after a year, you have excellent credit. So now you ask for another increase. So you should never be without money. Now you go in and the corporation should be big enough and strong enough to borrow on its own the 200,000 that you PG'd, and it pays off whatever's rest, knocks you out the pocket. You're not responsible for anything anymore. So now the corp is on its own. So if the corporation happens to go down, you don't go down with it because you have good credit. If you do it this way, you have access to bank statement loans. You have access to annualized loans. You have access to merchant account loans. You have access to recourse loan, more revolving card loan, increases. That's why rich people never go down. They take lateral or they go up, or they're not responsible. And the bank is your friend. So we're not here to beat the bank. The more you give them, the more they give you. Beautiful thing.
Sure, but Mr. Whitehead, got a quick question for you for some people that might not understand it. Chef Corps. Can you explain the difference between getting a Chef Corp from you opposed to getting one from one of these off-brand companies? Because I know that a person out there could buy a Chef Corp from a company and it could already be attached to EIN, or they might not even pay it down. Can you explain? Can you elaborate, Chad?
That's a very good question, brother. Okay, somebody said his is unpublished and more reasonably priced. Exactly. So if you go to a company called Wholesale Shelf Corps, they're online. They're like the number one and number two seller of shelf corporations in the country. They can't hold them enough. Why? Because people pay that money because they know what I'm teaching you. So they go buy corporations so they can always get money. This is 2,000 years old. This is secret information that they keep from you. There's no need for government cheese. If you go there and look what they charge for a 4 or 5 year old corporation, $12,000 to $14,000, and it doesn't hold your hand. They don't teach you anything. They don't show you what to do with it and how to do it. $14,000 for a 5-year-old corp. But you know how many people buy it? They can't keep them on the shelf because they know if I pay 14 grand, I'm gonna get back 50,000 for 14, 100,000 for 14, 200,000 for 14,000. Where can you get that? Anywhere. That's why the rich live on the mountains and the poor work for the rich. 6,500 versus 14,000. What you want to do?